Well, hello there. My name is sometimes Heather and I play Elder Scrolls Online. Last time, I shared a few thoughts on necromancers, and today, it's finally time to look at a build. I have been toying with the idea of an Ice Necromancer for a while now. When the thought first came to me, I saw potential but not enough power. I abandoned Tinaysa's Icy remake until scribing arrived to the game. I wanted to give her something unique, a way to blast enemies with icicles while her skeletal allies both aid and heal her. I think this turned out fun. Let's start with basics. Tinaysa is a Dark Elf Magicka character, so I have all of her attribute points on Magicka. I have her walking under the Lover rune to maximize physical and spell penetration. She is a stage 4 vampire, but for this build, vampirism isn't necessary. Race can also be chosen according to preference. Breton and High Elf should work fine here, perhaps even Khajiit. Let's move on to champion points. In Warfare, my active stars are Weapons Expert, Biting Aura, Wrathful Strikes, and Untamed Aggression. In Fitness, I have Siphoning Spells, Rejuvenation, Fortified, and Boundless Vitality. In Crafts, I've gone with Master Gatherer, Treasure Hunter, Homemaker, and Plentiful Harvest, but do choose the stars that make playing fun for you. Now to abilities. I have armed Tinaysa with 2 Destro Staffs. First, a backup weapon which is an Ice Staff. I basically have curses, hexes, and heals here, and I cast these before combat. First, Degeneration. This deals a set amount of magic damage to a single enemy, while granting Tinaysa Major Brutality and Sorcery, which increase weapon and spell damage. If you have all major skilled passives, casting this grants you Empower for 10 seconds. Empower boosts damage done by heavy attacks against monsters by 70%, so pushing major skilled skill line to max level is still worthwhile. Next, Heal a Friend. Spirit Guardian lingers for 16 seconds at a time. During that time, it both heals Tinaysa and takes some incoming damage on her behalf. The Guardian creates a corpse upon perishing, and those do come in handy when playing as a Necro. For the next one, we need the Scribing Altar. Chilling Contingency imbues Tinaysa with magical runes. This fun ability deals both instant and overtime frost damage to enemies, and grants Tinaysa Minor Force, which increases critical damage by 10%. I use Deaden Pain only after combat when there are dead bodies everywhere. This heals Tinaysa and grants her a bit of ultimate points, along with Major Protection, which reduces damage taken. When slaughtered, this reduces damage taken by 3%. This would be a good main weapon heal, but I chose to hide it here. For me, Deaden Pain is a total immersion booster. Last, on this weapon, we have Empowering Grasp. This summons 3 areas of skeletal claws that protrude from the earth like it was coming to life. Enemies in the first area are snared, those in the second area get immobilized, and those in the last area are stunned. Empowering Grasp grants enemies minor maim, and to allies, Empower. It also enhances damage and healing done by all the friends you summon. Before combat, I like to cast these in a specific order. Spirit Guardian, Degeneration, and Chilling Contingency, followed by Empowering Grasp once I see which way enemies are headed. Moving on to our main weapon, which is a Lightning Staff. You can use an Ice Staff here as well, I just like Lightning better. First, we have Ricochet Skull. This allows Tinaysa to toss an explosive skull to deal a set amount of flame damage to an enemy. Every third cast will do more damage and bounce off to hurt 2 other enemies. This is a fun spammer, I only wish we could morph it to do ice damage instead. Next, our second scribed ability. Chilling Explosion takes 2 seconds to cast, but the wait is totally worth it. This causes an icy explosion, allowing icicles to protrude from the ground. Chilling Explosion deals both instant and overtime frost damage, and grants enemies minor brittle, which increases the amount of critical damage they take. Brittle also feeds our sets. This is a super fun ability, and using this on a horde of small enemies makes damage numbers look incredible. Then, our second spammer. Hungry Scythe has been the basis of Tinaysa's build ever since the day she unlocked it. This allows her to swing a mighty Scythe to deal a set amount of magic damage to a single enemy. Using the Scythe also heals her, so this is mega useful for a stage 4 vampire. Also looks really cool. Granted, this doesn't do that much damage, and if you'd like to replace this with another spammer, do that. Next, Skeletal Arcanist. This summons a skeleton friend to assist Tinaysa in combat. The skeletal mage attacks the closest enemy to do a minor amount of damage. I almost didn't use this one, but since Skeletal Arcanist grants you major brutality and sorcery, which boost weapon and spell damage, I chose to add another friend to the mix. We do get major brutality and sorcery from Degeneration as well, but Skeletal Arcanist makes certain they're always active. Last, we have Avid Boneyard, the reason why skeletons come in handy. Avid Boneyard desecrates a piece of land. All enemies who stand in it take a set amount of frost damage over 10 seconds, while also obtaining minor vulnerability, which increases their damage taken. If Avid Boneyard can consume a corpse upon casting, it deals 30% more damage. And that's not all. Avid Boneyard comes with a do-it-yourself synergy, which not only deals more frost damage but also heals the user. Our ultimate is the Swarming Scion, but Glacial Colossus might actually be a smarter choice. That deals a lot of frost damage and applies minor vulnerability on enemies. I would encourage you to get all the passives on all 3 Necromancer skill lines, Mage's Guild, Destruction Staff and Racial skill lines, and also Vampire skill line if you choose to go with Vampirism and use the Swarming Scion ultimate. Rotation is a challenge for Necromancers. For me, getting them to move smoothly through combat always ends up in a slow limp that somehow feeds immersion. Tinaysa here manages to limp with at least some grace. After casting hexes and curses on our backup weapon, I summon Skeletal Arcanist, cast Chilling Explosion, and spam Flameskull and Hungry Scythe until I get a corpse to feed Avid Boneyard. I repeat as needed and try to refrain to easy areas, like the archive.
This calligraphy, I recognize it. In this case, that may not be a good thing. Be careful.
I have given Tinaysa my usual 3 armor sets. First, Frostbite. This is an overland set from Blackwood. Frostbite adds to weapon and spell damage and critical chance. With a full set on, Frostbite increases damage done by frost abilities against chilled enemies and against enemies afflicted by minor brittle. Our monster set comes from Imperial City. The helm drops when you slay Nunatak in the Imperial City Memorial District or loot a Bone Shard trophy vault. Shoulders can be purchased from Telvar Equipment Lockbox Merchant in your Alliance's sewer headquarters. Nunatak set adds to armor. With both pieces equipped, dealing frost damage creates an area where enemies take more damage and become snared. If enemies are damaged 4 times, they become immobilized and afflicted with minor brittle. As Nunatak is a PvP set, it might not be the best for PvE. Ice Heart which drops from Direfrost Keep, can also work here. Monster sets related to ice are regrettably few. I hope we'll get a few more in the future. Our third set is a craftable one from Weald. Craftable sets can be made with any weight and any trait. I made mine light and divine. The Tharika's strike adds to weapon and spell damage, full stop. With a full set on, dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack grants you Major Berserk for 4 seconds at a time. This increases damage done by 10%, which actually makes a lot of difference. Remaking Tinaysa has been a bit of an adventure. It seems that Necromancer abilities change every time I look away, and that has made finding any kind of balance really tricky. I kinda like this icy version, but there are things I'd like to further change. I want to add Blood Mist to the mix and see if a Scythe would work here. I'd also like to change her sets around a bit. Maybe I'll make another version in the very near future. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you later.